and then we'll see how they want to continue the draft here. On the TSM side, it's Kalista, which means the Ashe is likely there in the support lane.
Do you think that we're going to see a Kalista linked to the jungler? Because in some of these double ranged bot lanes, I have seen, rarely, but I have seen a few times where they'll just get a heavy ganking jungler and actually link to that jungler. You do give up quite a lot of laning power, so it is a big price that you're paying,
right?
But it's reliable engage.
I highly doubt it because I feel like you're picking Kalista into Lucian Nami. Like you're expecting Lucian Nami to come out, and you really want to pick her for as much power as you can. So linking someone else and not skilling that W, especially with Ashe.
You give a lot of
the premier auto attack support nowadays. It's weird to say, really, but I do think you're going to want that extra power in this lane.
Well, back on TL's side, they're going to complete their second round of picks with two very expected choices. You get Lucian, you want to pick up Nami, and Sejuani is just one of the S-tier junglers right now. TSM's response, they're picking up Graves.
I like the Graves. I do think the composition is making them play a top lane, so banning out the Fiora makes a lot of sense. We are looking for something beefy that can walk into CC or block culling. So something that can block the Glacial Prison and something that can block the culling for these squishier champions, make space so they can walk into the team fight and start dealing damage. So definitely looking for a tank on 4 or on 5 if you can blind pick mid. We'll see what they go with.
I mean, they for sure need a tank, but they also need AP, right? Like, they need an AP mid laner. You know, it'll be interesting to see if TL wants to try to throw some bans towards that. They're actually banning out the Galio, something that Maple really does like this. When you think back to Champions Queue and stuff, at least when I was watching a lot of Maple streams, he was playing a lot of Galio, a lot of Talia, a lot of Zoe, champions that could kind of move around the map and try to have effects that way. So obviously a bit concerned about what is maybe a Maple block pick.
I'm a super huge Galio fan. I've loved Galio since his release, but I feel like in this game he doesn't have the proactive tools to really start fights, and TL does have the range advantage. So as much as Lucian is actually a short range carry, Nami evolves his, like, he basically gives him the long range extension he needs. The Tidecaller's Blessing makes culling do so much damage at such a long range that he doesn't even need to build more AD. He just grabs Rapid Fire Cannon, giving him even more range, and he plays as if he's basically a Varus, but instead of shooting arrows, he shoots bullets.
Yeah.
And just really hard, really fast. Instead of a lot of arrows over a short amount of, like a long amount of time, he just shoots a lot of bullets really
Loses
fast.
all his bullets, so he's got to save them up for a while.
Just fire off them machine pistols and let them have it. Kassadin and Silas going to be your last couple of bans here. Well, Bwipo, you wanted a big old meatball up there in the top lane. That's a meatball.
Out of all meatballs, I have to say, Ornn's probably the champion you could pick the most things against.
Yeah.
He's just that type of champion that doesn't really punish anyone that hard in lane, but he scales like a monster individually. That said, I would love to see Gnar come out here. Ooh, I'd love to see Gnar come out here. It is Summit's signature pick, in my opinion, and he's done some crazy things to top laners in the LCS playing this champion.
Yeah, he's going to get it. So Gnar going to be locked in. The Ornn feels like very much a kind of a pick for the team type thing. Gives them the guaranteed engage in the team fights. You know, gives them those Ornn items, the scaling that you already talked about. I do think they're going to have some sort of significant AP threat in mid lane. Maple, of course, will have the answer, but we'll find out. I mean, if you go towards something like an Akali or something along those lines, maybe it's going to limit the options. So it is going to be the Akali.
Okay.
And Silas is banned out, so we'll see where Maple wants to go. Talia is what he played yesterday. They did win.
It looks pretty good. A lot of dashes on the enemy team. Creates a lot of space. It's not terrible. I do think the culling is quite scary. It is going to get locked in. Okay, it is Italia. So I think in this composition... Oh, no, not yet. My bad. It looked a bit... it looked like
it happens, yeah. You just have that little bit of a thing hovering in front of it. So no Talia. It'll be Azir instead for Maple. So some powerful scaling in the solo lanes of TSM here. Going up against Summit on the signature Gnar pick like you guys were talking about. It's always so strange, the conversation about Summit, because he was so dominant in the regular split of the LCS for the split that he played here. He was MVP, and then he left the league. He disappeared into the night. Now he's back, and that Gnar was responsible for so many of those MVP performances.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a really interesting game. I mean, TSM is going so late game with I feel like their top three, with jungle and both their solo laners, that it does feel like, hey, if they can really slow down the game, then maybe they can kind of take over and those stages. But I feel like TL has so many more opportunities to get aggressive and to actually dictate the pace of the game, especially through early and mid, that it could be really different. I'm very doubtful that he's going to have many opportunities to get first strike.
I agree.
I feel like you're just going to get that Q poked off by Gnar over and over and over, and we're going to look at 20 minutes and it's going to be like 14 gold.
Yeah, he's going to hit him with one of those little volcano rocks, and that's...
It's not the greatest, but I've seen people do it on Sion in the past for the same reason. It's just like, like Spellbook, I don't feel like the summoner spells are that relevant. I do think they're very relevant. I always take Spellbook.
Yeah.
But first strike is the option.
Especially like
now,
exhaust late in the game. If you can spellbook and exhaust against
for
an
sure.
Akali or something.
Cleanse can create more
Cleanse against
space. You cleanse
Sejuani, you
the
can just
Sejuani
tank the
ult,
ult,
tank
yeah.
it, walk away. You can't W it. But sometimes, for example, there's actually this interaction with Ornn where people CC you as your ram is coming, and then you can't slam it in and knock them up. But with Cleanse, you can bait the CC, get Sejuani ulted, cleanse it, still get the knockoff.
Also look at Yeon, Ignite Lucian.
Yeah.
So they are going pretty aggressive here.
Interesting that this is their solution, but we've seen it before.
Yeah, and Chime is going to play barrier. So I'm really interested to see, is he going to go super aggressive, utilize that barrier early? You were talking about the ability to do that, especially with Tail of Blades, just walk straight at him, try to get value out of that barrier, try to take a really aggressive trade. They are spotted starting on this red. Sejuani will be starting topside on blue. The question is Sejuani going to be able to get over and steal enemy red after this? Where are they going to be able to go? Because Graves is obviously going to have very fast flare.
It's very difficult for Sejuani to do anything level 1 without other melee picks. A lot of her, she wants to skill E level 1 to clear her jungle, otherwise she struggles. And then not only that, Graves is obviously a powerhouse level 1, deals a load of damage, has mobility, just a great skirmishing champion early game. Now that said, I think the most valuable part of TL's comp is going to be the Lucian Nami, so attacking this with TSM makes a lot of sense because who is driving the initiation in this game, right? There's going to be an Ashe walking up with volleys permanently poking, and even if you Sejuani ult her, Fate's Call is going to make sure she's going to stay safe.
Yeah.
So the way TL is going to open fights reliably is actually the culling.
Well, CoreJJ and Yeon are just playing off the back foot here up against that powerful Kalista Ashe combo early on. Bugi making sure that he's just doing a full clear of this enemy red quadrant. Going after the chicken camp now. He's already cleared the Krugs, cleared the red first. As along pretty slowly here. Pyosik doesn't have smite, Bugi doesn't have smite, so it's just going to come down to a skill fight there, and Bugi does secure the entirety of that camp, so he'll be able to walk away. Not quite level 3 though. I do believe it was Pyosik actually grabbing maybe 1 or 2 of those little baby chickens. Bugi gets level 3 now after visiting mid.
I like that he actually just walked mid and leached a little XP to hit 3 there though. That's actually really smart. So going to be able to grab that, and that allows him to keep fighting with Pyosik. If you're level 2, you can't actually scrap with that level 3 Sejuani. That would be a bit risky, but Chime going down!
Wow!
That's the Ignite right there. The Ignite from Yeon comes through, gets him.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I think that's TL, Yeon and Core outlaning TSM's bot lane.
Of course, the Ignite is
like
the Ignite tick is what killed him. That's all I'm saying.
I actually don't think, it was over. I think he overkilled him.
Okay.
I think it was maybe 1 tick, but it was a total overkill. I'm just being, I'm just specifying here, but I just wanted to highlight how well they're laning 2v2. They got counterpicked, smashed the 2v2 to a point where 1 dash, basically one-shotting Ashe, making this lane unplayable. All the investment that Bugi put in because he wasted time gatekeeping Pyosik from coming into the bottom lane, and then it just didn't amount to anything because they just got 2v2 killed. So all the effort that Graves is putting in, instead of getting a lead by going topside and farming his own jungle, he can't actually accrue a generous lead for himself, even though he stole 3 camps.
Let's see if Pyosik can find a successful gank onto Solo here in the top side now. Forces the flash out. Solo's going to manage to keep himself alive, but he will need to go back to base to heal up. It'll probably be the TP used to return to the lane immediately thereafter as well. So a nice early start here for TL, thanks to the fact that, as you're talking about, Bugi's early investment doesn't pay off. Pyosik's able to find something on the other side of the map instead. They're feeling all right.
What do you think, Azael? How much gold has he made?
Let's check. I think it's probably almost nothing. He's made 2.
2? Oh, baby. Make him bang.
Yeah.
Didn't even know the number could be that low on it.
It's probably because...
oh, he just got another proc. Let's see. 21.
21.
Oh, okay.
Woo.
Okay, so he's got a minion.
An interesting interaction where bone plating actually eats the first strike proc, so the damage portion, it doesn't give you any gold.
Oh, wow. Today I learned.
There you go. Probably bone plating Gnar in that case is why it was so low. But yeah, I mean, it's just a very slow laning phase early game. I think this makes a lot of sense. That's why I like TSM's draft, because I do think they have the scaling advantage. That said, TL's scaling is good, especially if top lane, which is why I think the hardest part of TSM's comp is. That was assuming that the bot lane didn't collapse, though. I felt like Ashe Kalista, I maybe I have no idea how the matchup goes, but I would assume that matchup is going to be a little bit stronger in the early game. Maybe you need to play Halo Blades Kalista instead of Lethal Temple to get the advantage. Just trying to...
Ooh, bubble.
Nice catch there on the bubble from the Nami. CoreJJ sets it up for Yeon to just pick up another free kill.
They are just crushing in this 2v2. Another kill. Neo not able to flash it, and perhaps not respecting the fact that he could just get 100-0 like that. He just got lit up.
See why there's priority on Lucian Nami in the bot lane.
Looks pretty good. Strong. And I feel like if you're Kalista, you're thinking, okay, the bubble's slow enough of a projectile, I should just be able to hop out of the way, but CoreJJ with that placement, take another look at how he does it here.
Yeah, he caught him right on the hops. I mean, they know the core's in that brush, and he just got tagged by a volley. He steps forward, catches him on the jump back. As you said, maybe he felt like he was going to be able to get back out of it, but very nicely played there. Lands the full combo and straight up burst down. I mean, maybe Neo could have flashed out after the bubble landed, but now Solo is in trouble here. Pyosik is behind him. We'll see if they want to try to do anything aggressive.
Level 6.
It does have the Ornn, so they're going to call it off since Ornn just hit 6.
Yeah.
Didn't keep track of that. If they were Mega, I still think they could have been an angle, but Mega's been used, so I'm just going to back off here. The Dragon attempt makes sense. You have the stronger early game jungler, and fortunately, even though he invested time in the bottom side, bot lane's been, it looks doomed.
Also, a really nice first Drake for them to be able to get, right? Ocean Drake early on, going to provide some extra lane sustain to make some of these trades a little bit better, make it feel a little bit less pressured early on here for some of the TSM laners. You can see mid lane going perfectly fine here for Maple, just farming up versus Haeri. As long as he picks up all these, he'll be up, I don't know, about a wave or two. Top side, Summit's got the advantage that you would expect a Gnar to have versus Ornn early on. And even though Yeon is still pretty even with Neo in the bottom lane, the difference in the kills, the difference in the pressure, the difference in how well TL is playing to always have that threat is very evident.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the bot lane just kind of is going to get worse from here. It almost feels like once you have Gale Force online, it gets really, really terrifying to be playing in this 2v2.
I mean, the unique thing about Lucian Nami is that Lucian actually stacks up a bunch of damage items. Like, he doesn't actually buy that much damage outright. He doesn't buy Kraken Slayer, doesn't go for a Collector or Infinity Edge type items until after Rapid Fire Cannon. He prioritizes damage that adds onto his burst combo together with Nami.
Chime eats some damage there, but it's Bugi over the wall. That means TSM can go for a chase. Heal used by CoreJJ to give him a little bit of extra speed to disengage, shake off most of that. Yes, it cost the summoner spell, but then with CoreJJ's healing, they're able to get rid of most of the damage.
Maple is starting to move down. He is going to be actually tracked, though, by Haeri. So they're pinging over onto him. They know that there is a possibility of him moving. He's going to bail out, though, as Yeon and Core weren't fully sticking around.
So this is actually a situation that I don't like the way TSM played. Like, Bugi cues the wave, trying to push it out, because I think this is like a set play. He goes bot, pushes out the wave, they play for Herald. But this top side is going to be really hard to contest. Gnar has the constant priority. Azir doesn't really want to scuffle in the river against the champion like Akali. And what ends up happening is he went bot lane, pushed the wave, but just put the wave in a worse spot for his bot lane and didn't actually get the pressure to contest this Herald with a numbers advantage. That said, they're going to give it away since it's equal numbers.
Yeah, I mean, TL had really good vision on the top side as well. The thing just got cleared out there, but they have another up in Dry Brush. They have another ward over on the Krugs as well. So tracking well on that top side.
Chime's eating a whole lot of culling. Neo has to step in and
base,
block a couple of bullets there. TSM's support going to have to be careful if he decides to stick around here, as CoreJJ and Yeon might just look for a dive. They do have the level 6 on the Nami as well. Summit's just going to grab his Demolish proc here in top lane, pick up a little bit closer progress towards getting that second plate.
And look at the time. The Summit is kind of wasting a Bugi, right? Because Bugi didn't realize they was actually spotted on that ward over by Krug. So he's hanging around. He's like, oh, maybe someone's going to dive. And someone's kind of posturing like, hey, I could dive. You've got to wait. You've got to stay around. So just wasting that extra little bit of time is always something that's really nice to see. Utilizing that information that the wards gave you, just delay that recall from Bugi. And now we can see Sejuani down here on this bottom side. Graves' recall was delayed on top. You know that you have a guaranteed scuttle for free down here on bot. It's these nice little plays that can start to snowball into something more.
Absolutely. I wanted to highlight Summit's Gnar play here. Something he does incredibly well is leverage his Mega Gnar to sustain back up. So what he does is he takes tower shots to get chunks out of you, and then he uses Mega Gnar because the health you gain from going Mega actually stays when you're mini again. When you transform back, he doesn't recall. He just stays in lane, continues the pressure, and slowly chips away at your tower, creating a large CS, but not only CS lead, also a gold lead. He's obviously getting plates.
And continues to find that harass underneath the turret there with the Mega Gnar into the wall just for a trade. that sets up a little bit further damage with the Frenzy, or Hyper Proc, excuse me, right after that. 2,000 gold lead for TL 10 minutes into the game. Only 2 kills on the board, so a lot of that's being built up through this pressure, through these plates, through farm advantages, and TL's looking pretty good here in the early game.
And you can see how far back, TSM's gonna have to play. They're trying to bait a little bit for Bugi, but Gale Force is already completed, so their fun, if they were having any, is absolutely over. And Solo just TP'd back. He's already down to half health. I don't know if he even fully regened in base or not, or if he just insta-TP.
This is how Summit plays this matchup, and it's something that I've had to deal with a lot last spring split. And he just stays in lane.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy. Chime's in some trouble, but luckily Neo does have the ability to save him now. That Kalista ultimate's so important when Chime gets caught out. But CoreJJ throws out an ulti of his own. Pyosik comes over the wall. They look for the chain CC, but Bugi can get out of the way there with his flash. He's barely alive, but Akali's coming in, and she looks hungry for blood. Haeri picks up one. Can he find a second? Tries to get it, but he won't. TSM making a 1-for-1 play.
Fantastic smoke screen there by Bugi, making sure that Haeri couldn't use his point-and-click skills. So one of the biggest strengths smokescreen has is you can't use point-and-click skills when you are being blinded.
Yeah, so you can't point. You can only click.
Yeah. You can only skill shot.
That's one of those things that's so annoying when you're playing against the Graves. It's hard to appreciate how confusing it can be when you do get smokescreen, exactly what you're supposed to do. Are you supposed to continue forward? Are you supposed to retreat back? Where are the people around you? But when you're watching with full vision, you just look dumb, right? It's so one of those things when you're playing against the Graves.
We'll get to see it again here. Also, I love Yeon's patience with the Akali. He knows that something's up. They're baiting, but he doesn't just Gale Force in and get Ashe ulted or Kalista knocked out. Actually, there's the Ashe ult. But like here, he doesn't Gale Force in for more damage because there's a threat of someone being behind them. Waits with his Gale Force, waits for the homies to come, and well, should have been honestly a clean dive. I feel like maybe one more was possible, but here a little bit desynced on the CC chain there on Bugi, and only a, I believe, 1-for-1 in the end.
Yep. I think they do kill off the one, but as you say, there was the blind from that smoke screen came down. Haeri trying to finish it off with the R2, but it's flashed by Neo, so nice flash keeps the Kalista alive. Is that 1-for-1? But it's Bugi who claims the dragon. It's the second one there for TSM now, so. Despite TL, being in the driver's seat on that bottom side, it is TSM with back-to-back dragons here and a way to potentially move towards Soul.
Yeah, that's kind of the silver lining for TSM here in this early game. Yes, they're down a significant amount of gold, they're down in kills, they're down in what feels like overall pressure, but having those Drakes at least gives them something to play around. They know that TL's not going to be building up extra power through that. Each Drake, remember, is worth about 1,000 gold, give or take, in terms of stats. So when you look at that compared to the 2.4 lead that TL commands, the game's much closer than it might appear.
I agree with you. The scaling looks really good. Again, highlighting Summit's Gnar play here. Proxies a wave, bases as soon as he's got the Trinity Force, and now that he's got the Trinity Force and 1 minute left on this tower's plates, he's going to try and finish the job here, get all the plates they can possibly get. Again, I don't know if I'm snoozing one more time or if the Rift Herald didn't appear anywhere. I'd love...
Yeah. Oh, it was mid. They dropped it.
They dropped it mid? Okay,
yeah.
At least they dropped it. This time I was snoozing. I did not see where they used the Herald, and honestly, I do think using a top lane would have been great to really crack this tower, but they did get it quite early, so didn't quite get to go for the crack. But that's okay. A stable game is good for them right now because Lucian is going Imperial Mandate finished. This is what you're waiting for when you play Lucian Nami. So winning before this point, always a huge win for Lucian Nami because it just gets worse and worse once you start falling behind against the side of it.
And they're trying to really actually keep this tower alive. Solo is out of mana, so he's just going to go back to base, head down towards bot. They move Maple up towards top with the DB, and Bugi and Chime even hanging around here, so they're expecting that TL would want to try to force on that tower top to try to knock down one of these turrets, but a lot of resources being put towards protecting that, at least for now.
Actually, I have a little anecdote from my experience playing in G2 in 2019.
Okay.
So what they would do is, whenever their top laner or their bot lane would be in a bad spot, Caps would actually come to their lane and relieve them and start laning in their place. So there's a lot of cases where I would be laning top and I'm in an advantageous position, either in scrims or on stage, and all of a sudden, you're laning against the enemy mid laner. And you just used all your resources trying to get the enemy top laner to base, like put him in a bad spot, and all of a sudden, enemy mid laner shows up and takes over and you can't pressure. Now in this case, we used Maple to relieve the pressure rather than come back and get a pressure point. So Maple's just they're gonna mismatch the lanes because obviously Akali isn't gonna progress anything, even against an armor item Ornn. And Maple's going to hold the Gnar much, much safer.
Second Rift Herald of the game spawned and started up by Team Liquid. They got that first one. They're looking to maintain control over that second. As Summit goes for the slam into the wall on Maple. He's shuffled back into the turret. And a cross-map arrow just going to seal his fate. They give the shutdown over to Bugi, and TSM shoots straight.
Man, that arrow was actually pretty sick. I'm curious how early Chime shot that, like where the positioning was on Summit, how that communication was, if they're trying to actually push him back, into that corridor. Or if he was able to actually shoot it out late enough, but it is Pyosik here, and they're TPing back in.
And Bugi has no way out. Remember, the flash still down from where he had to use it in the bottom lane dive. Now Haeri, he misses the E. Shouldn't have enough damage to be able to really threaten Maple any further here, even with the ulti. So Maple stays alive through that one, but TL responds. They pick up a kill back against TSM, and they get the Rift Herald as well.
I mean, look at the gold lead, the top three. It's all TL here, looking really, really nice. Good counter kill, and with the Herald, they can crack any turret really they want. So they're just gonna go straight towards mid, give the gold towards Yeon.
This time I caught it.
There we go.
I wanted to bring this up. TSM feels like they can walk into the room. Oh, never mind, an initiation.
Ornn comes out, Yeon flashes back over, but to guarantee that he doesn't get caught out in case there's more TSM backup coming through. So if you're TSM, you at least get the flash out of the enemy AD carry. Maybe that's going to give you a potential opening here in the next 5 minutes or so, but they've lost the mid lane turret. Let's take another look at how Summit got caught here and where the arrows fired from.
Yeah, and when the arrow is fired, that's what I'm most interested in, because they know that he's kind of coming through that bush path. So it's not fired yet. I'm looking on the mini map. Okay, there. Just now. So after he had been scooped, they push him towards that. Great arrow, honestly. Able to nail him. Really well played there. When Bugi arrives, they get that shutdown. And you talk about when can they capitalize the missing flash? Well, Dragon is spawning, and that's going to be no flash there on the Lucian. Potential to get that shutdown.
Especially since he's running the Ignite. You mentioned it earlier, but that means no cleanse. An Ashe arrow will get him killed.
Yeah.
Ornn will get him killed. Now, these are the only two tools that they have, so as long as Sejuani can create space for Yeon to walk up and look for those cullings, look for the Yale Force one-shot, it should be possible for TL to take the space. That said, pay attention to the Ashe arrow, pay attention to the Ornn when it comes up. It is not available yet.
Oh boy. We might not have an Ashe arrow at all, my friend. Chime. Oh, wow. Clutch save there from Neo. Haeri's going to look for the end anyway, and he finds it, jumps right back to his shuriken in the smoke, and it's an easy exfiltration.
Very nicely done. I mentioned this earlier, before the draft started, is Chime's going to walk up and volley, and he's just going to fish for things. And if the Glacial Prison's used, Fate's Call should be able to save him. I'm not sure if Neo is actually in range. It was very late.
Yeah.
He was one hit from dying there, right? So I'm not sure if Neo is actually in range, but it's nice to see at least the Ashe is walking up with the Fate's Call. I do think we want to press the button a little earlier or stay a little closer together.
And that was a very important pick for the side of Team Liquid, because now they guarantee that they get that third Drake of the game. They stop TSM from stacking.
And that's really what TSM was looking for kind of at this point, moving towards that third dragon, trying to threaten a soul. They are falling fairly far behind. They do have great scaling, so they can fall back on that, but Akali taking a tower on bot side, and Summit up here trying to defend their tier 1, so they will go positive 1 turret on this trade.
They're looking for a 2v2 here, potentially.
Looks like it. Ornn summoned up. Solo there, gets stunned by Pyosik. They tried to use it so he couldn't get the R2, but the timing wasn't quite where it needed to be. Now Maple jumps in. He really wants Summit here, trying to get on top of him so he can summon up the soldiers. Ends up committing the flash, and it's Bugi point blank range with the 12 gauge, takes him out. But now Maple has committed a lot to make that play happen, and he finds himself behind enemy lines, but backed up by his own man. TSM moving as a unit and getting it done.
Nicely done by TSM, and now Pyosik is caught out here. He's in trouble.
Saving Private Maple.
Whoa! That was close. TL's looking for their counterattack now.
They're not done yet. They're looking for Akali to roam up here and potentially jail them underneath the tower, but I think the health bar is too low on Pyosik, and I don't think Yeon by himself is enough threat to get him to stay under the tower, so we'll see what ends up happening.
He can stop
here.
the recall at least. Yeah, he does
not bad.
Get him to stop the recall. Haeri and Pyosik are behind.
They are looking very aggressively.
Summit's TPing to mid. Is he going to move up here as well?
No, I don't think so. I think this will just be a fight.
Okay, Pyosik's still low. Haeri drops the smoke. He'll disengage it. You can see the E mark over Solo's head, but there's no way for Akali to dive in and kill that target out of everybody.
But look at the tier 2 mid, right? That's where Summit went. So they're actually buying time. Even if they don't get that kill, they're pushing up that tier 1 top, so they delay the bases. They buy time for Summit to work on the tier 2 mid as well. It does get about half the health off that, so nice play.
Solid stop. As a top laner, it's sometimes hard to recognize. Like, am I supposed to save my TP to TP into that fight? In this case, very smart of Summit just recognize I have nothing to profit. It's a fight between the tier 1 and tier 2. Nothing's going to happen anymore. I'm just going to TP mid and try and pressure somewhere else.
It's a hard commit to this play, absolutely. The TP comes in from Maple, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be like a little bit too late, if they could actually chase in on this, but Maple just hard commits to it. Yeon on the other side spends the culling, doesn't really get that much done, and now Summit.
Oh! 0-3-0. That's not what you wanted to see from Summit's Gnar. I'll be honest with you. Laning phase was exquisite, but since he's left the laning phase, unfortunately, a lot of picks being made on him. He's lost his flash here and there, kind of fishing a bit too much for pressure, right? He walked past the tower. He tried a solo kill, like not really solo kill, but he tried to chunk the Azir a bit too much. Lost his flash and his ultimate. And then he's just been getting caught.
And I got to applaud TSM because, you know, they're down 4,000 gold, but they're finding picks, they're finding plays, they're finding openings and opportunities, and that's what they were able to do yesterday against Immortals as well. Remember, they also started out pretty significantly behind in that game, so even if they're falling behind in these early games, they're working together well enough as a team to fight their way back in.
And I gotta be honest, this is kind of the same strategy that was employed against Summit once he got to playoffs, right? You know, to attack Summit, because he is such an exceptional laner, but he really pushes the envelope. He plays very aggressive to create these large advantages. And when you're doing that, you're exposing yourself to being preyed on by these ganks, by these roams.
I 100% agree with you. Now, the beautiful thing about this game is, unlike yesterday, where picks were being made and the gold advantage was shrinking, TL's actually managed to increase the gold lead after the top lane died. So you're getting something in return, whether that's a jungle camp on the other side or a tower. I haven't seen many towers fall recently, but definitely towers were falling. We saw that with the top tower when they were collapsing on him. They're making something on the map happen every time Summit's getting caught, so it's not going unpunished.
Yeah, I mean, it's everyone pushing at the same time, right? If you have multiple pushing lanes and they're overcommitting 2 or 3 people up towards Summit, then you're going to be getting something on that other side with the wave that you've already shoved up. And it looks like they are just trying to move in, control this jungle quadrant, and be ready for a next protection dragon here.
Pyosik's gonna move up. They find Kalista this time. They know that she can save the Ashe, but she cannot save herself. Pyosik with the dead shot aim catches him there, and that's the TSM AD carry dead for the second time this game.
So the interesting thing about this kill is, what are the ultimate cooldowns that were used? How long do they last? The dragon spawning in 50 seconds. Kalista's going to be there. Is the culling going to be available? Is Glacial Prison going to be available? These are really important tools to start the fight on TL's side, and without them, it's going to have to be a hero play from the Mega Gnar, which is much harder to do against a champion like Azir, going through an Ornn, getting Ashe arrowed. So we'll have to see how worth this pick really was. Now, it does feel natural in the game. However, in review, sometimes you ask yourself, was this the right call?
So Sejuani will have ultimate a couple seconds after that dragon spawns. The culling is going to be about 30 seconds desynced or thereabouts. So it's going to be a while on that culling, but they should have Pyosik's ultimate here, you know, just about as a fight could be potentially starting. Something else worth noting, first Ornn item completed. You know, that is upgraded there for solo. Going to be looking to continue upgrading those. So the gold lead can start to lie to you a little bit as Ornn gets additional XP.
Yeah. For sure. Still 4,000-ish gold lead. It's about 1k gold per upgrade, I believe. Which is pretty good. They are going through the bottom lane. I actually like that TSM's committed to just pushing through bot lane here and saying, you know what, you want to take my mid tower? Go ahead and take it. I want this dragon for it. So if Summit shows mid, we're just going to bulldozer down this dragon as 5 people.
But look at the positioning here from TL. They're trying to threaten flanks from multiple sides. You know, Summit from the top, Haeri from the bottom, trying to look for this pincer play. Haeri now is trying to approach. Can he actually get in there?
TL's going in. Summit has no Mega Gnar. CoreJJ's already committed the ulti. He's going to get back away. There's a lot of damage poured in for TSM. TL, you got to be more careful than this. Pyosik nearly killed. Haeri tries to run. 200 HP left on the Team Liquid mid laner. TSM just stops them in their tracks.
Like I mentioned, without the culling, there's nothing that's really creating space for the TL flankers to go in.
Oh
As the Mega Gnar goes in, everything is flashed.
Summit, that was not the angle you needed, buddy. I saw it in his eyes, but so did TSM. They were ready. They respond.
Haeri?
But now Haeri's trying to get something.
He's got nothing, though.
He's still not got enough damage to pick up any of these kills. Now he's finally going to get Chime. Neo will kite him out. They'll trade 1 for 1 there. The support for the mid laner. It's 3 dead on TL. It's 2 dead on TSM. And they'll take the objective along with the fight.
That is rough. Some shutdowns being given over. You know, Haeri TP's back in, but he didn't have ult. He didn't have Zhonya's at that point. You know, they try to make this flanking play. Haeri's moving in from the side, but, you know, he's not really able to get that much done. Yeon going forward with that tidal wave, but as you said, he gets Ashe arrowed up, and he doesn't have the culling to really come through with that additional damage. They force out the flash with a great Ashe ulti, and then look at Haeri straight into the Zhonya's. He's been scooped out of the smoke screen, so as soon as he's out of that, he's out of the fight.
He pretty much got one shot in CC there.
Yep.
This is what I meant, like, Yeon has to walk up so close to the enemy team to actually hit because he doesn't have the culling. So the Ashe arrow is almost guaranteed, and beautiful flashes here, honestly. 3 flashes in total, but worth it. You kill Summit immediately, the fight looks good, all your carries are alive, and Gnar is out of juice. No jump, no flash, no skills. He's a melee champion after he goes Mega.
Absolutely, and Bugi just flashing straight in on Yeon, utilizing that Gore Drinker. He knew that Yeon had no flash remaining after that play. Back to live, another Ashe arrow connects.
Here we go. They found a pick potentially on the Pyosik. He does not escape this time. A killing spree for Neo. And Faithful's ready to Haeri too.
Right over by it. They get the jungler, they get the support. Haeri is spotted. It's going to be a TP towards mid for Summit. Does he just push mid? That tier 2 tower could be an easy knockdown, but he's coming with Mega. It doesn't have a lot of time on it, though.
It's gone. I think you have to give up this Drake. I feel like, contesting this Baron is just desperation. You're never getting this. Ornn's going to walk into the culling and tank it completely. A hero play from Haeri is necessary to turn this around.
He finds the E on the Bugi. He may be able to assassinate the jungler, but the Gore Drinker keeps him alive. TSM, they'll get the Baron. They lose their jungler. They trade him 1-for-1 for the enemy mid, and now they'll see if they can grab anything else. It doesn't look like it. Neo cannot close the gap to use Chime aggressively, but TSM have shrank this gold lead down to what is essentially nothing left.
It is nothing left. I mean, now there's going to be 2 more Ornn items coming through, so 3 Ornn items now completed here. They find Pyosik, and he's just really confident here that he can't actually get taken down, but it's a great CC chain. The Ashe ult into the Ornn ult. The spears are stacking up. They're raiding on top of him. They make him out.
I mean, beautifully played by TSM. Punish immediately the TP defensively from Maple because they know they can follow up. Killing Sejuani is enough there. You keep him there just because you're going to walk into the Baron, whether Core dies or not. They scoop up Core, and here, the hero play, Kalista's Ren.
Exactly.
So you're never going to get a steal. So even though you can make a hero play, Haeri showing off some fast fingers, looks cool. Unfortunately, it's going to be a 1-for-1, and then trying to set up a steal is great. However, like I mentioned, with the Ren, you don't need Smite to secure the Baron. I actually missed Ren.
That was actually nice. He actually rendered to 100 health and then autoed it. So
I think he rendered he tried to rend the Akali and forgot about his stacks.
Oh, Solo's pumped
He's
up.
feeling it. Oh yeah, it feels great. You get punished by Gnar for 15 minutes straight. You hate your life, and then now you're just winning the game because you picked Ornn into Gnar, and the game wasn't over. 15 minutes of punishment, it's not enough.
He threads the needle on the Ornn ulti there, not going to hit a target with the R2, but it doesn't matter because it still allows them to force down this tier 1 turret. They summon up the Sun Disc, so they've got this forward operating base to fall back to stop TL from being able to immediately punish, and they're continuing this pressure. 2 cannon minions with Baron are just going to chip away at this turret.
Yeah, it's looking really good. Haeri's in the side lane. They know they can't actually defend this, so they're just trying to buy some time for Akali to get something done. The Ashe arrow is going to be Mikhail's, that looked like. So yeah, that is completed there from CoreJJ. So it's going to keep Summit safe, but still, this is getting really rough. With the 3 Ornn items, you're giving them about 2,400 to 3K gold worth of value. That plus the 3 dragons, TSM is well and truly in the lead with the scaling advantage probably.
I mean, it's not only a scaling advantage, it's also the fact that TL doesn't have that many tools. I mentioned this, they have Glacial Prison and they have the culling. And at this point, when Ornn can just walk into your culling, it's not going to kill anything. Even if Ornn isn't there, it's a Gore Drinker Graves build. This build's been really popular recently, popularized at Worlds this year, or sorry, 2022. Because he can just behave almost like a pseudo tank, right? He can walk, he can dash into this damage, not really care about it. And then, like I mentioned, with volleys just thrown out, it's really hard to catch the Ashe as well because of the Fate's Call.
And just because we were talking about earlier, I had to check in. So first strike Ornn damage, she's got 147 gold.
Well, I think that's the only
almost 2 pink wards.
That might be the only L TSM is taking on this day, but
I mean, Solo's playing a great game.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he survived. 20 CS lead for Gnar isn't enough. He lost some plates, but that's again, it's a part of the deal. He signed up for that when he blind picked Ornn. There's a lot of bad things that can happen to you when you blind Ornn, but if you manage to reach level 13 without the game exploding, he's going to start out scaling champions really fast.
And now he's 16, so the last of the Ornn items coming through for the carries, he just has chimes to make, which honestly, who cares? You're feeling really, really good. Yeon pretty far out there, does have to be careful.
He's trying his best to try and get these double taps off with the rapid fire cannon, but I don't think Solo cares. I think he's ready to tank 10 of those.
Now we've got the dragon spawning. This is Soul if TSM gets it, and Summit has no Gnar bar as TL has to try to outmaneuver TSM and defend here. You can see Haeri behind enemy lines looking for that flank. He wants that pincer maneuver to catch these guys. Summit still potentially in harm's way here. Ashe arrow comes out. Follow-up knockup coming in from Solo. Culling does a lot of damage over to Neo, and Haeri's ready to jump into the back line. Neo stays alive. Haeri's right back on him. The shutdown over to CoreJJ. Chime's gonna die next, and Team Liquid does the alley-oop. There's the scoop. Bugi's down. TL gets 3 for nothing, and Core ain't done. He interrupts the charge away from Solo. It might take a whole damn clip, but Yeon's got enough bullets for him this time. Solo will drop, and it's Team Liquid, of course, getting 4.
That is huge for TL. They find the angle to get the engage. Haeri with the deep flank, and they get in onto Neo, able to finish him off. He connected his E before he got shuffled away. So even though there is that peel there for the Azir, he is jumping right back in onto the carry, gets the execution. Summit's piling in, Pyosik's piling in, everyone from TL recognizing this is their moment. And we are into a pause. Maybe we can watch a replay of that fight during the pause. Hopefully it'll be a quick one.
Hopefully, yeah. Big deal, right? The culling being available compared to last time Haeri tried that flank, compared to not having the culling. Not to mention, this is the #1 thing that the best players in the world do. I'm not saying Haeri's quite there yet, but you learn from the last fight. The last fight, he didn't tag him with the eagle. The Azir ulted out. He was out of juice. This fight, he knows he needs to smash that E button as fast as possible, tag one of the carries, then be able to retake it after getting knocked out by Azir.
I've got to say, though, Solo could have tanked up a lot of that culling. He was actually just a little bit to the side there. He should have been blocking that culling for Neo, because Pyosik lands the Sejuani ult, and then if Solo had actually stepped in front of the full culling, maybe Neo is high enough health that he can actually potentially live there, because he tanked almost the entirety of it. Still, great play from Haeri, lands the shuriken flip, able to actually finish them off. Then they're able to get in on the Bugi. Everyone piling through here. But I do think, potentially could have looked different if Solo was able to block some of that.
100%. One thing to note for TSM, they're going to do some problem solving, right? In the comms right now, they're asking who used Flash.
Yeah.
Next fight, how are we going to approach this, right? What was the issue? Because one of Gnar's weaknesses is when he gets CC chained when he's mini, he's not exactly a ranged champion. He's not as squishy as a carry, but he does get quite squishy. They're solving some of the death timer here, which is why they're doing this. Just making sure that TSM doesn't get on the map as quickly, at least Solo in this aspect. Very important to discuss what went wrong. How do you approach the next fight? What are we going to do? Some of the things that I'm suggesting, to my mind, is you need to mark this Akali if you can. This is something that a lot of good teams do against the really strong and scary Akali, flankers.
Yeah.
And I don't know who it would be. That's the issue in TSM's comp, I think.
Yeah.
No one can really mark the
Solo
Akali.
needs to be there with them.
Yes.
Right? Like, he has to be there to block the cullings, to block Sejuani ults and things like that. So it is difficult. If Maple goes, there's potential you could actually get caught in a difficult situation.
So an update for everybody watching at home. We do have a player pause because of a perceived lag spike. So we're doing a test to investigate the latency or something.
Wait, I just saw this, the name tag on Pyosik. Hello, my name is Mark.
Oh,
Did you guys see all the memes? So Pyosik did an interview, if you missed that, where he said, I will retire if I lose the Fly Quest. They come out of the gates, first game in the LCS, to lose the Fly Quest. A little unfortunate debut for Pyosik, but then they did. They had some really good fun with it, where Core and him made a video where it was basically like, "Hello, I'm Pyosik. I'm announcing my retirement from the LCS," and he comes right back, but he's changed. He's like, "Hi, I'm Mark. I'm from North America. I'm the new jungler for TL." So now he's got the name tag to go with it. So I love the commitment to the bit.
Yeah, a lot of personality on this guy, man. We got to see that back at Worlds when he's doing his victory dances and all that. He's a Kindred player by nature, which, I mean, that's not obviously a guy who's only playing meta champions.
Yep.
It's a man who follows his heart. I respect that.
It's lovely to see, really. People having fun within their own team. It's one of the most important things. You have a long year ahead of you. You need to make sure you feel happy in your own skin, right? This is really important in any team. Make sure that you can be yourself and you can bring the best self out of you.
Yeah, you've got to be able to have fun.
And we actually have the video, so we can actually pull it up and see the
video
roll. Of Pyosik, I think, from Twitter. So they're going to pull that up for us while we're waiting on this latency.
Hi, I'm Pyosik. Today we rose to Flycast, and I retire. Sorry, my fans. Bye. Hi, I'm Mark.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark. Where are you from?
I'm from American. Watch my debut again, TSM.
I mean, you gotta love it, especially when it's not your native language to be coming and doing like comedy bits and stuff like that, I think it's awesome. I love the personality.
He owned it.
Out of Pyosik. He went with it because that's one of those things where it's like you are gonna get memed about this for sure. So you may as well own it and have some fun with it and turn it into a positive. Players are calling ready in game. We are on pause. Let's get it.
Yeah, I got an update that there was a lag spike, but I don't believe it impacted, like it was a lag spike after everything, the dust had already settled. We're gonna continue playing the game, but League officials are continuing to also investigate in the background to make sure the lag doesn't influence anything going forward from this point, because, my friends, we have a very close game on our hands.
100%. The most important thing about losing a fight like this is the shutdowns you give away and to whom, right?
Okay.
Shutdown coming in for Yeon, I believe, because he went from a crit cloak in this fight all the way to Lord Dominic's regards. And let me tell you, you do not want this guy sending his regards to you when you're a tank, because he hurts. He hurts a lot. The difference between Solo being able to block the culling when he doesn't have this item to when he does, it's not to say that he can't block it, it's gonna stay.
Oh! What a good shot, man!
My God.
We have seen some sick Ashe arrows across 2 days here in the LCS. The one for Boom yesterday was nasty, and now Chime. Let's go. That's cross map.
He's all the way up in top lane.
My goodness. Well, okay.
Okay, it wasn't quite as far.
From the Raptors to Bush. Oh, sorry, to the Raptors. Sorry, the bottom tri-brush. Like, I always call this the tri-brush, but it's not quite the bot tri-brush, right? It's the tri-brush across from the bot tri-brush.
That's from the window to the wall for me. That was downtown, man.
Beautifully done.
That's a great shot.
Up. Yeah, gets scooped up. Free kill. No, like, even though there's magic resistance on Gnar, like I mentioned, when he's mini, he does have very low resistances compared to other top lane tanks. And in this case, a very high damage build on the Gnar means Maple makes short work of him if he CC'd. And this is what you're looking for. This at the start of a team fight. An Ashe arrow, ideally into an Ornn. Azir stabbing away at this Gnar and blowing him up. This is how TSM's going to win the game. And, well, hopefully they don't, because I still like the TL to win.
I could tell by your shirt here.
That would still be nice. On the flip side, I do think Yeon, with 4 items, is actually enough of a threat that they can't ignore him anymore.
Yeah.
Solo did complete the stone plate. That means there's going to be even more damage he can soak up, and Ornn is fantastic at this point of the game.
Ooh. Nice
no emote? Come on, man. Where's the emote? You always emote those.
I love how immediately Bugi pops the sweeper because he realizes the only way he gets that is if it's on a ward. So they'll sweep out some of that vision, but because they got the crab, that means TL has some unsweepable vision there in that top side river. Baron is up. Drake not spawning for another 2.5 minutes. Summit does have a lot of Narbar here.
Yeah.
This is here hurts, man. That was a Q and 1 auto attack, and it's a third of his health almost.
Oh, those volleys were actually pretty good because it actually did pop the Mega. So he hit him with a couple of volleys, forced that Mega out perhaps a little bit earlier than Summit would have wanted. So now TSM just backs it up, wait till that Mega is gone, and then you have that window of opportunity where it's your turn to actually make a move in for vision.
I actually realize it's Bugi that's going to have to stop Haeri from flanking as the Ornn comes out.
Oh, CoreJJ just used Mikhail's. He used Mikhail's expecting the arrow to hit him. So that is now down.
Yeah, he tried to self Mikhail's. If there's a timing there where you can self Mikhail's off the CC, he thought it was gonna land, so he tried to have that timing. So it is just a trade of cooldown. So even though it missed, you got what you would have got kind of anyway.
I believe it's because Mikhail's is a projectile, technically.
Yes, it is.
And so even you have to shoot it at yourself.
You throw it up in the air and
it's
it
a
lands on
fraction
your
of a
head.
second while it's landing on you.
That is how the mechanic works. However, Mikhail's a 2-minute cooldown, and Ashe's arrow, since you're specking into so much cooldown reduction and Ultimate Hunter usually,
it's about back up.
It's already up. I'm pretty like basically he should shoot another arrow every 30 seconds, it feels like. So we're gonna see, since there's no cleanse on Yeon, only a stopwatch, if we're gonna be able to leverage this no Mikhail's. That said, an Ashe arrow landing on anyone clean, they have enough damage to blow up that target.
Oh, so they're just gonna start this, but this is spotted immediately, and Chime does have the arrow, as you said, so they're gonna look for this fight.
Baron's at about half. Maple's still making his way over, so TSM approaching slowly and carefully. It's Solo who will just walk his way up there. Summit transformed into the Mega Gnar for only a couple moments longer. Now that he reverts to Mini, there's your arrow. It finds Pyosik, that's the tank. But TSM's not too worried about it. Nice read on Yeon's dash from Solo, but nobody else is in range to follow it up. Now Haeri looks for his opportunity to go in, jukes out that Shurima shuffle, and Haeri has to go golden trying to survive. TSM pushes forward, Haeri dives to Chime. Summit now running away from the rest of the squad as TL retreats. TSM finds the enemy mid lane.
And there's going to be a decent, because he's not going to be up in time when that dragon does spawn. He will have TP if they can find some way to delay. Solo's going to go back to base, TP back, get his health back to full here. We'll see if the rest stay on the map. Pyosik will heal it back up with the Warmogs, which is key.
The really important part to notice, that when Gnar is in the game and He doesn't have Mega. He's not able to jump into these 5-man stacks, what TSM is doing. So even though normally Ornn gets used, Ashe gets used, it's your turn to engage back, right? Glacial Bridge comes out. There's no juice. No Mega Gnar means you're fighting a 4v5 basically, which is why TSM still won, even though they whiffed their ultimates on Pyosik earlier.
Summit's got an angle here, but he has no Gnar bar, so it's not like he can jump in and do a whole lot about this. Pyosik wants to try to steal, but it won't happen. It's secured by Neo, and TSM have the Infernal Soul. Yeon's got nowhere to go. He's dead in the middle of 5, and TSM is controlling this.
It's a great force from TSM. They know that Haeri has to get up, has to be able to TP into that fight for them to really be able to take it. So all TL can do is look for the 50-50, and now Summit is caught.
Summit trying to kite this one out, maybe turn it around! There's that mechanical excellence you expect from Summit Gnar, man. You can't count him out, ever.
Beautifully done. Here, there you go. Gnar bar worked out in favor. This is Summit really testing the limits of the game, right? That's one hit from death. Yeah. It looked like one more tick from the Leandries would have finished him off there, but beautifully done. Managed to get the Gnar bar. Keeps the game alive, really, because if TSM walks to this Baron here and takes it with Yeon dead, if they started, I don't see how TL's going to stop them in a 5v4 situation.
Yeah, Summit playing that very, very well. You know, flashing out after the Q was used from Maple, so Maple couldn't actually redirect the soldiers fast enough to finish him off after that. That was still that tiny little window that allowed him to transform, and now they're going to try to force here. Maple is dead, so the shoe's on the other foot. Will TSM be able to get in time? Yeon is moving out from base, but still a little ways away.
10 seconds on Maple. He has teleport on spawn, so he will be able to join the fight. And I believe TL is aware of this. They recognize they won't have a whole lot of time with this numbers advantage, and they do not want to overforce. Maple now ready to join up with everybody else, TPing to a minion here in mid lane. Yeon saved by the KOs. Team Liquid trying to get everybody out of here. Yeon is still burning. That has to be healed by the Nami.
Yeah, that's the QSS that was just purchased up, but they had the solo ultimate to follow it up. They have the Infernal Soul hitting this additional damage as well, and Yeon's almost killed off, so he's got a base. They're just going to start this up. Pyosik is full, but someone's got no Mega and half health.
Pyosik is the one thing that could stop TSM from grabbing this Baron here. He knows it. You gotta think TL is gonna go in and try to steal, but TSM DPSs slowly so that they're ready to counterattack as Pyosik makes his entrance. Now they're gonna secure the Baron. Bugi's got the smite. Pyosik tries to get away, but he's already down. Summit has to disengage and hop back over the wall as TSM need to be careful here. Neo forced both summoners as he disengages. TSM get themselves another Baron.
My god, this Azir damage is disgusting. I'm looking at the scoreboard and he doesn't have a death cap, but I swear, he hits people for 2 or 3 times, they're almost dead instantly. Ashe Arrow connects, 2 hits from Azir and you're going home. It's actually really incredible. I actually think they might be pushing for an end here. Probably I would say you should recall here, but they're posturing mighty aggressively.
Yes, sir, they are. TSM 5v4 for the next 15 seconds. There's your Ornn. Haeri trying to find a valuable target as the arrow flies out, but Chime won't hit anybody. Half HP on him, solo's low, but Haeri's down. 1 for 1, traded top for mid here in the defense. Team Liquid holding on for dear life. Summit trying to find anything to slow these guys down, keep these guys away. They don't want a full-on fight. They know they can't win it. They just need to push them back. And now TSM retreats.
It's a great bubble from CoreJJ, actually knocking Solo out of his dash there, it looked like. Yes, so he couldn't actually retreat back. He couldn't actually finish in. The initial play, though, here it is one more time. The Ashe lands, there's the QSS, and then the ulti comes through, and as you say, just a couple pokes there from the Azir. That's 2-3 autos, maybe, is about all of the health down there from Yeon.
Wow. I mean, masterfully played, honestly. I feel like Maple's spacing on Azir is really, really impressive this game. I feel like he's done an incredible amount of damage. I swear, if you look at the damage graph, he's probably most of it for TSM, I'll be honest with you. Great performance by him this game. As we do try to find a steal, the health gets low. We're going to dip out here and we try to flash smite it, but against the Kalista plus smite, it's definitely not in your favor. So we try to make a miracle happen here, but so close, yet so far.
Yeah, tries to get in there. Felt like he had to go for it. They could feel the game slipping away. Summit in the side lane, trying to create some pressure, trying to make something happen. As it is TSM pushing through top here. Looking really strong, honestly. I think, a much stronger TSM than people were expecting to come out here. People had them, down towards the bottom of the standings, and TL up towards the top. But it's TSM that withstood the early game and is now looking like they are in full control of this one.
They're looking at the Nexus.
Yeah, they just want to end this game. They're using the TP on the minion to guarantee they're able to tank up the Nexus turrets for a longer amount of time. First Nexus turret's already down. CoreJJ with a nice bubble there onto Bugi, followed up with the Glacial Prison, but they can't go in far enough to get the kill. Summit is down. Neo's got it, and now Team Liquid stands 4v5. TSM is not seriously injured. Haeri's trying to get somebody, but Chime's only going to be saved by Neo's ulti yet again. The Akali is down. There goes everybody else. Maple with the shuffle, TSM with the scuffle, and they'll take down TL. TSM start 2023 to wins.
I mean, honestly, scaling is the name of the game. I came in game one with saying this. It's early season. A lot of people have some jitters on stage still. Some mistakes happen, and that's all you need. A couple of picks on Summit. Even though there was still a gold lead being accrued, one dragon fight's really all you need, and that's where it went wrong. That one fight on the bottom side of the river where